It's like in grade school, you were in 3:30. No, come on. Let's go.
I'm have Danny fix it because
I know.
everybody knows
It's
sees the
off.
clock. See, it's
Yeah,
6:30.
it's off.
Yeah, he waits till after it's corrected.
Yeah, yeah. Danny. Where's Danny when we need him?
I know, right?
He's hiding it.
Yes. There he is. Okay. Mayor?
There we go.
All right, good evening, everyone. We will call to order the regular Heath City Council meeting Tuesday, February 24th at 6:30 p.m. If you'd all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessing of serving the people of this city. Thank you for the families, businesses, and neighbors who make this community strong. Lord, we ask for your wisdom as we make decisions tonight. Grant us discernment, integrity, and unity. Help us to govern with justice, humility, and courage, seeking what is good and right in your sight. Bless this city, its employees, its first responders, and all who call it home. May everything done here bring honor to you and serve the common good. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. God bless Texas.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Horn. Moving into agenda item number 2, this is our public comment section. Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Mayor, council members, we don't have anybody here signed up to speak.
Very well. Then at this time, are there any, even though it's not on the agenda, do we have council with any comments? Oh, I moved that out of order. We're going to do it anyways. Agenda item number 4. Council, do you guys have anything that you'd like to comment on?
No comments, sir.
Very well. All right. Then we will move into our public hearing. This is to conduct a public hearing on a direct grant resolution authorizing application for a local park grant program through the Texas Parks and Wildlife Program and directing the city manager to act for the city in working with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for purposes of local parks rider grant. Mr. Alexander, do you have anything for this item?
Mr. Mayor, we do have Chelsea Gordon here to tee up the item and give you a little bit of background before the public hearing.
Very well. Ms. Gordon?
All right. Mayor and council, this item actually appears on your agenda later on this evening, but the public hearing is to give an opportunity for the public to comment on the application itself. Essentially, we were authorized as a recipient of a $150,000 grant through the 89th Texas Legislature for town center park improvements. And so later on in your agenda, you'll have a list of 2 projects that we will be proposing to be included for that $150,000 grant cycle. And so it's a directed grant. We have to go through this process of having a public hearing as well as a resolution signed by you all this evening authorizing us to continue with the application to receive the funds.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Are there any thoughts or questions by the council for discussion? If not, we will go into a public hearing at 6:34. Are there any people like to speak for or against this application? I like to make it as awkward as possible. We'll just sit here Perfect, all right, at 6:34, public hearing is closed. And we're looking for action on this item?
Mr. Mayor, council members, this item will have an action item later in the agenda.
Very well. All right, so in this section, we were just conducting the public hearing. So at this time, we are going to move into some proclamations. We are super blessed to have some amazing people here. I mean, what a great crowd. I think the crowd's really here for proclamations, so they don't want to listen to y'all's boring business. So what I'll do is I'll come around here. And Luke, if I can have you come up, and then I'm going to have some others come up. But, you know, before I do this proclamation, it's the first time I'm getting to meet Luke. But I can tell you guys, what a amazing gentleman. He sent me an email, very professional, and started talking to me about this thespian group. And so I said, hey, get with the city manager and or the city secretaries, and I'm very proud of you for taking that leadership role and taking that charge. If we could also have, you want to introduce them? We have Kimberly, Emily, Catherine, and Sarah.
Yes, absolutely, as well as Delina. I'd like to bring you guys all up.
If y'all will come up. All right, and I'm going to read this to you guys. We're very honored to have all of you here. We're very proud of you as a city. And so, whereas theater education plays a vital role in academic and personal development of students by fostering creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and confidence. Whereas participation in school theater programs strengthens the community connections. It encourages student engagement across all grade levels. It provides meaningful opportunities for artistic expression. And whereas Thespian Troop 7119 of Rockwall Heath High School has demonstrated exceptional dedication to excellence in theater arts within our school district, performing 4 productions during the current academic year, and actively promoting involvement and inclusivity in the performing arts. And whereas the troup's most recent production of Hadestown achieved a top score of outstanding in every category from the Broadway Dallas High School Music Theater Awards, with every individual actor in lead and supporting roles also receiving an outstanding rating, thereby making the program eligible for nomination in every award category. And whereas at the Texas Thespian Festival, multiple members of the Thespian Troupe 7119 qualified nationally in their individual events, and students Tauda and Sarah, did I say that correctly? Toda and Sarah earned perfect scores in their respective events, exemplifying the highest standards of achievement and dedication. And whereas these accomplishments reflect the commitment of students, educators, families, and community members who support and sustain theater education in our schools. Now therefore, I, Jeremiah McClure, Mayor of the City of Heath, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2026 as Theater in Our Schools Month in the City of Heath, and encourage all residents to recognize and celebrate the importance of theater education and the astounding achievements of Thespian Troupe 7119 and the educators who make these accomplishments possible. Congratulations. We're going to take a picture, but they're going to give me a score after this, how well I did, right? If you guys here, if we can get 2 more on this other side, we're going to get a picture of everybody.
For the record, he had to read off notes.
That's right. I couldn't go off book.
And then if you guys will shift that way a little.
Shift.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do 1 more. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Luke, you can send me an email and tell me how I did. It'll be like a UIL contest here. We are also blessed to have some amazing ladies here. Kira and Catherine with Women in Need, if you'd come up. Come on up here. All right. Now this is very serious. tough one to read, frankly. So whereas teen dating violence is defined as a pattern of physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, or economic abuse occurring within a dating relationship among adolescents. And whereas teen dating violence can occur in person or through digital platforms including social media, text messaging, gaming platforms, and other online spaces, and may involve verbal abuse, threats, coercive control, cyberstalking, harassment, or non-consensual sharing of intimate images and other technology-facilitated forms of abuse. Whereas national data continues to demonstrate the seriousness of this issue, with research showing that approximately 1 in 5 teen girls and 1 in 10 teen boys in the United States report experiencing physical or sexual dating violence before graduating from high school. And millions of teens each year experience some form of abuse within a dating relationship. And whereas studies indicate that more than half of teens know someone who has experienced dating abuse, yet many victims do not seek help, with fewer than half ever telling a trusted adult or authority due to fear, stigma, or lack of awareness of available resources. And whereas the impact of dating violence extends beyond adolescence, as young people who experience dating abuse are at increased risk for mental health challenges, substance abuse, academic difficulties, and future intimate partner violence in adulthood. Whereas education and prevention efforts that promote healthy relationships, consent, respect, digital safety, and accountability, along with clear information about the legal and personal consequences of abusive behavior, are proven strategies for reducing teen dating violence and fostering safer relationships now and in the future. Whereas communities, schools, families, and local organizations play a vital role in raising awareness, supporting survivors, and empowering young people with the knowledge and tools they need to build relationships rooted in dignity, equality, and mutual respect. Now therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Heath, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month in the City of Heath, and encourage all residents to participate in awareness efforts, support prevention education, stand with survivors, and work together to ensure that all teens can grow, learn, and form relationships free from violence and fear. Thank you, ladies, for everything that you do. We are very appreciative. Thank you. Thanks again, ladies. Give them a round of applause for their hard work. All right, at this time, we will move into agenda item 5.c. This is a presentation by Mr. Ayers of GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm pleased to announce that the City of Heath has received the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement, a Certificate of Excellency in Financial Reporting Award. This is the highest national recognition in governmental financial reporting. To earn this award, the city's annual comprehensive financial report undergoes a detailed national evaluation. Reviewers assess whether the report demonstrates transparency and full financial disclosure, compliance with national accounting and auditing standards, a clean independent audit opinion, clear management analysis explaining financial performance, and comprehensive statistical and long-term financial information. This means the report not only presents accurate financial numbers, but clearly communicates the city's financial condition, operational accountability, and long-term planning to our residents and stakeholders. This achievement reflects strong governance by City Council, leadership across all departments, and the dedication of our finance team and auditors who work diligently to maintain the highest standards of public financial management. Financial excellency doesn't happen at audit time. It appears every day through disciplined decisions, responsible policy, and a shared commitment to stewardship of public trust. Thank you for your continued support and for the opportunity to serve the city of Heath.
Well, very good. A round of applause to you and your team. I know that you guys work tirelessly to close out the books for very complicated systems, and so thank you guys. And this is a reflection back, right? This goes back to 2024, and so thank you for your hard work, and please let your team know how much we appreciate it. Okay, very well. All right. Moving into our consent agenda. 6.A, this is action regarding the minutes of the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting. 6.B, action regarding a contract for professional services with Alliance Geotechnical not to exceed $36,347.30 for geotechnical and material testing to support the construction of Candlelight Park Fire Flow Project. 6.C, action regarding the reimbursement to TM Bristol Valley LLC in accordance with the facilities agreement executed on September 19, 2024 in the city's water capital improvement plan. 6.D, action regarding a resolution declaring elected to the offices of mayor and 2 council members for the city council place 3 and 5, the unopposed candidates for election to these offices, providing that such election shall be effective as of May 2nd, 2026, and that such candidate shall take office as provided for by law, providing that May 2nd, 2026 general election shall not be held, providing that a copy of this resolution shall be posted on election day at each polling place that would have been used in the election, providing an effective date. I believe everyone's had time to review the consent agenda. So at this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor, we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Ombie. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Horn. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. At this time, we'll move into our items for individual consideration. 7.A, this is discussion and action on a directed grant resolution authorizing application for a local park grant program through the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department and proposed projects to be funded through the grant. Ms. Gordon.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. So as we had mentioned earlier in tonight's agenda, we do have exciting news. The city was awarded as a recipient of $150,000 through the General Appropriations Act in the 89th Texas Legislative Session as what is called a rider grant or directed grant. And so this is an allocation of funding specifically made to be facilitated through the Texas Parks and Wildlife Division, specifically for our community and specifically for Town Center Park. These projects, or these grants I should say, are really used for shovel-ready projects, providing a little bit of additional funding for these projects to get off the ground, improve recreational amenities within the parks, community spaces, upgraded facilities, etc. What is really unique about this particular grant program is that there is no match requirement. And so that means $150,000 is directed to us. We do not have to compete with anybody else, and we do not have to set aside matching funding to receive this award. We do, however, have to identify projects and apply for the funding. Once that application is made, we will then be able to receive the funding through reimbursement. So that is essentially what we are here tonight to do, is to approve a resolution that will be submitted as part of the application process. We held the public hearing earlier in tonight's meeting, and that is a requirement as well. And so the resolution itself really just is required for the application. It certifies that we are an eligible grant recipient that we held a public hearing, and it authorizes and directs the city manager or designee to go ahead and submit the application and handle all necessary components with dealing with Texas Parks and Wildlife to receive that funding that has been allocated for us. And also, the resolution will also confirm that the project itself is for Town Center Park. That was specific to the supplemental appropriation for us. And so, again, it's just recertifying that we are the ones that are receiving the grant and that it'll be used for Town Center Park improvements. With that, we do have to allocate and decide what we're going to use the $150,000 for when we submit our application for the grant itself. And so staff has come up with 2 projects that will fit into the $150,000 allocation. The first project is the donor garden. This concept was actually vetted through Park Board last year, was approved through Park Board and recommended to City Council, who back in January of 2025 approved the project, but there was no funding associated with it. So the project has not advanced, but it's estimated at about $65,000 to $70,000 to complete this project. And essentially what it is limestone monuments to be utilized as a donor recognition feature in the park. It will create a nice ambiance, a photo opportunity, as well as that recognition space for donors that have contributed funds or time to seeing these improvements happen at Town Center Park. These are some renderings of what that donor garden will look like. So you've got your donor monuments as well as a bench outlining kind of the mission and overall goal of the path and what that stands for in helping see some of these different park elements come to life. It's just another viewpoint of that donor monument. This just kind of shows an overview of the park space. So if you can kind of orient yourself, the donor garden will be on the opposite side of the basketball courts. And so right abutting the basketball courts, kind of looking at your splash or interactive fountain feature, as well as the pavilion space. So the thought is to create a space that's going to be ongoing. So the thought is, of course, year 1, having these monuments put in place, but by year 15, potentially having additional monuments to recognize future donations that might come to the city. This is the initial monument column layout. So you'll see there is 2 monuments laid out that recognize the first one, city leaders and volunteers behind the park renovation project. The second one would be major path supporters. And then your third would actually be a bench, a limestone bench that has the unifying path message on that, and that would all be engraved on the bench. Currently, this is the only signage we have out at Town Center Park that signifies those involved in park renovations. And so this will lead into our next project, but this is actually bronze plaques that are placed on the restroom at Town Center Park. So it would enhance the signage and recognition and put it in a place that is prominent and can be utilized as a place of serenity, solitude, honoring those that have made this come to life, and potentially illuminating the fact that we do have a donation program within the city. The next project that we are looking at is the restroom renovation. So the current restroom is not in scope for the project right now to be considered. So we have a brand new park, but we have older, outdated facilities for restrooms. So we would look to add one additional stall, one for women's, one for men's on each side of that facility, upgrade fixtures, partitions, lighting, do some interior painting, and to do some exterior improvements to really help bring to life this nice facade that is on the exterior that has some gates as well. We'd also be looking to replace the 2 existing drinking fountains that are on that restroom and replace that with a more modern fixture, which would be a bottle filler type drinking fountain. Those initial costs for that limited scope are around $76,000 to make that happen. This is a photograph of the exterior, so you've really got a nice facade to work with. The improvements on the exterior would be limited to the new drinking fountains, as well as that gate needs to be restored and powder coated. This is unfortunately the state of the restrooms right now. Not a great state for the restrooms, and so not just looking at capacity, but again, making sure that we're bringing that up. We've got a brand new park. We want our restrooms to be nice as well. So if this resolution is approved, these projects are approved, we would complete the application process with Texas Parks and Wildlife, which would include the attached resolution that was provided within your packet, and the submission of other required documents such as a general site plan and general scope and budget of these projects. We would then go into finalizing the project scope and design, and then come back to you and the park board as necessary with contract awards for these projects. At this time, we are recommending approval of the proposed projects and the resolution designating the city manager to submit a program application to receive the directed grant. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
At this time, council, do you have any questions?
I have a question. Is it projected that these projects will be finished with the rest of the park, or what is the completion?
Yes, so absolutely. So we are tentatively slated for a soft opening in April with the formal opening, the big celebration in July. We think that if we move on these projects right now, we can get those done most definitely before the July date. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, very good. Are there any other questions?
I don't have any questions, but I have a comment, Ms. Gordon. I just want to say a special thank you to our previous former state representative, Justin Holland, and he is also serving on our park board chairman. And this is just an amazing example where state advocacy translates into the local impact. And this is huge. And so it's awesome. I just want to acknowledge him for that.
I think it's great, absolutely. No, we're very honored to have such high caliber individuals volunteering for all of our boards, and to have a brand new chairman come into this volunteer role for running our park board, to be able to garner this level of a grant is very exciting and very much appreciated. So thank you for that comment. Councilman Dodson?
Chelsea, I'm wondering, was there any consideration for maybe looking at putting 3 stalls in the women's area and just 2 in the men's, just given the fact that women with small kids and what have you that are visiting the park may occupy a larger section, and particularly for events that we have there when the amphitheater opens up and everything else. What were the discussions around that?
Yes, so we were looking at the base utilization of the park. So anytime we do have a special event where we're going to be drawing in crowds when we're using the amphitheater, we're going to have additional restroom capacity outside of this singular location. So we were really just focused on when we have small potential youth tournaments, full use of the pickleball courts, things of that nature. And so that's where we landed on kind of the 3 and 3 stalls for women, and we have it broke down as 2 stalls and 1 urinal for the men's, but when we get into further design, we can tweak that as necessary.
Yeah, I'd like to see a plan for space optimization.
Absolutely.
Within the women's area, to see if we could possibly fit more facilities inside of that particular restroom.
Okay, great.
Any other questions, comments for discussion, council?
I do have one comment,
Councilwoman
Mayor.
Hall?
While we're passing out kudos, we were on a tour of this facility, Councilwoman Thurgood, myself, and the mayor, and we brought up the bathrooms, and this wasn't that long ago. And, you know, we said, oh, what are we going to do about the bathrooms? And we presented this to the two of you who were on the tour with us. And you said, well, we'll look into that and see what we can do. I am incredibly impressed. You went, you found the money, and you brought us a solution. And that is just speaks volumes about how you care about what we care about, and that's the citizens of Heath. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Very well said, thank you. Okay. If there's no further comments, then we will move into action. So the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion to approve as recommended?
Yes, as recommended.
Okay. So motion to approve as recommended by city staff for the proposed project, and resolution designating the city manager to submit a program application to receive the directed grant, as well as the direction of the items in which have been disclosed. Very well. The motion.
I'll read that next time.
Very good. You're fine. You're good. It's my job to clarify those motions. All right, so the motion is as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, Michelle.
We have a second by Councilwoman Thurgood. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Good job, Chelsea.
Thank you.
All right, moving into 7.b, this is discussion and action regarding a Parks and Trails of Heath and City of Heath donation policy.
Right. Mayor and council, Park Board has been busy. So this next item is a donation policy. Currently, the city does not have a donation policy, but we do regularly accept donations for a variety of purposes, most notably for our Parks and Recreation program. Recently, we did approve a resolution for PATH, which really speaks to the role of our PATH committee in seeking donations, but it was not a formal policy encompassing all donations and kind of laying out the groundwork to facilitate that process, get the donations, and have the agreement set in place. We're really looking to have this policy to ensure that we are consistently handling all donations and sponsorships, really looking at protecting the city and setting clear expectations and terms and providing that structured pathway to receive those donations and sponsorships, as well as ensuring the proper handling of all documentation and finances. So we've put together a policy that has been included in your packet this evening. It really speaks to how we would like to handle donations moving forward. The PATH, the Parks and Trails of Heath, would still remain in an advisory role for park and trail donations. And again, advising city staff and council on those donations, but the city manager would have the authority to accept any donations or sponsorships under $50,000. Anything over $50,000 would go to a donation advisory committee, which would be made up of the mayor, the city manager, any applicable board or commission chair that was involved in that process. So if it was a park donation or if it was a donation of some sort of land, potentially the chair of P&Z, potentially over park. And it would go to that group to approve that donation. The policy sets out due diligence standards, so making sure that we're fully vetting all donations that come to us, making sure that we have the capacity to understand the donation types, any maintenance schedules or future obligations that handling this donation would qualify for. The policy also speaks to naming rights, making sure that any signage is in accordance with our standards term lengths, relocation rights, and really giving the city full control of all donated assets. It also makes sure that payments are received in a standard process, making it a net 30 payment, and highlighting the fact that all donations are non-refundable. We are looking for approval and adoption of the donation and sponsorship policy and authorization to use the standard donation sponsorship agreement moving forward. And I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Before we open the floor to discussion, just for the record, I think it's important to note that this is how serious this council is on remedying not only old ordinances, not only old items that need to be addressed, right? We're getting down into some policies tonight. So thank you to Ms. Gordon and to Mr. Alexander for working hard and finding all of the areas that could be problematic and things that really, we're kind of playing cleanup, if you will.
Absolutely.
So very, very much appreciate the diligence here. All right, at this time, the chair will open the floor for any discussion items or questions for Ms. Gordon. All right, very well. If there are none, then the chair continues the floor to be open and will now entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt the donation and sponsorship policy and authorize this donation sponsorship agreement for our PATH program.
Very well. Motion on the floor as stated by Councilman Dotson. Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Myers. If there are no further discussion, then the motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into agenda item 7.c. This is a discussion and action regarding Park and Trail of Heath project, outfield fence for the Town Center Park baseball field. When we get to the vote, I will be recusing myself. So just you'll understand as she continues to speak. Go ahead, Ms. Gordon.
All right. It's a big night for you, Chelsea. It is. I'm like, where's my water at?
Normally
Not necessarily for me.
Normally it's
for
Mr.
Park
Creed,
Board.
so
Yeah,
I'm trying to give you a break tonight.
So we have a great project. Last January, the PATH committee, as well as Park Board and City Council, approved a few projects that were not originally funded, and some were funded as sponsorship projects for Town Center Park. The outfield fence was an unfunded project, and so during that time, PATH went out and solicited donations and sponsorships to get this fence built. So now we are at the point where we have sponsors that have been identified to contribute to the construction and installation of this fence. So it would be providing a new 5-foot-tall black chain link fence for the baseball field. It would include 2 service gates and 2 foul poles. As a sponsor highlight, we would be looking to add sponsorship banners to the fence. That would secure the naming rights, and that would display the naming rights for those sponsors that will be donating the funds, and that would be displayed over 10 years. We are looking, because this project is an unfunded project, meaning we did not have this in the budget, we're looking to utilize existing PATH funds to front load this project while the donations come in over the next 5 years. Currently, the PATH fund budget is a little over $29,000. Any excess funds from the total of the donations will go to future park projects and will remain in the PATH fund itself. So again, the payout is over 5 years. Each of the sponsors will receive signage on the fence for the next 10 years. This is a list of the sponsors that have verbally committed. Since you did authorize just now our donation policy, we will put that into an agreement in place. Should you approve the sponsorship, we'll move forward with securing those agreements with all 5 of these sponsors. At this time, we are recommending approval of the sponsorship and utilizing available funds from the PATH Fund for the construction of the outfield fence.
Very good, thank you. And if you will, if you'll go back a slide, I want to point out, you know, this fence is something that, you know, just wasn't in the master project. And, you know, I had really the dubious pleasure of sitting through and watching a park board slice and dice their budget and trying to figure out what they need to cut and trying to figure out, you know, hey, what do the residents want to see more of? And unfortunately, there just wasn't a fence. And so as we knew that we're working on this PATH program and we were communicating aggressively to the community that we're trying to look for private donors, there's a number of individuals that stepped up and said, hey, listen, the time is now. The time is now to get a fence done while this thing's under construction. And so you will note up there that there are 3 board members that have stepped up, as well as myself and one of my companies, to say, hey, we're not going to let these kids open this park and not have a outfield fence. So therefore, that's why I'm recusing myself during the vote.
Yep.
Okay. At this time, the floor is open for any questions for staff.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Dodson?
Chelsea, will this also include the fence topper that you showed on the previous slide? Yes.
So that is not, I don't believe that's within the current estimate, but that is something that we can look at as we get into the details.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a really nice thing to add, and probably doesn't cost a tremendous amount of money. That looks like corrugated pipe on the top, which is what they kind of are. The second piece, or the question that I have is, will this field have an electronic scoreboard?
I do not believe that's currently in the plans.
No.
Okay. And then the final question I have, Chelsea, is what is the projected total cost of this project?
So as we've been working through our different vendors, right now the cost is sitting at a little over $21,000 for the fence.
So you already have the money in the PATH fund to allocate and put towards this, right?
Correct.
So as you roll the slides forward one for the additional donors, that's going to the fence. Is that just going to be replacing the PATH fund money that's used?
That's correct.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I would certainly like to see the fence topper added to that, particularly if we have some money coming in from these additional donors, and with all the baseball people, former major leaguers in the city of Heath, I have to believe that we can potentially extract some additional funding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, foul ball poles.
Yeah.
There's a number of items. The original concept in the park board, on the record that was discussed was, you know, this is gonna cost maybe 50 grand. So
Right.
that's where they were trying to figure out how are we gonna fund it.
Yeah, but to your point, Mr. Mayor, I think that if you're gonna do it and put this construction in up front, like I know you have been a huge advocate for, why not go a little further? And if you're gonna make it a premier ball field, then put the topper on. Investigate what an electronic scoreboard looks like. You know, that just kind of finishes it.
Agreed.
I have a question as well.
Councilwoman Horn.
So when I see the fence going around a ball field, there's a lot of space on it. Are we going to open this up to future donors with this same opportunity as a way to generate funds to do things like a scoreboard? Or is this like an exclusivity to these
5 donors.
Right, so right now, it's for the 5 donors. This was a discussion that Park Board had. The sentiment was we don't necessarily want it to look like a NASCAR speedway filled with different sponsorship logos. So we have these 5 spaces right now. We can look at potentially adding some without it overwhelming the space to generate additional revenue. It is also noted that this signage will only last for 10 years. So after that 10 years, we can also sell that space as well and look for naming
If it
rights.
opens up, I think we could see Chico's bail bonds up there. That'd be great.
Come on. It's a great reference. It's a great reference. I can speak so originally, when there was talk about a fence and kind of, I'm, going back to when I was first elected, sitting in on the park board, so it was a completely different park board at the time, and it was the same concept. They were worried about signage being everywhere and so on and so forth. And so I think as the new park board came in, we're okay with signage, and then there was kind of like, but how much? So, yeah.
Thank you.
But yes, you are absolutely correct. There's space.
Yes.
If we need money, that's one way to get it.
Well, and that's why the donor park was created, was to really create a way to showcase families and businesses or whatever entity wants to give. So,
Mr. Mayor, one more question.
Councilman
Just to be clear, can the board or whomever come back with a estimate to add the fence topper and what a projected cost of an electronic scoreboard would be?
Yes, so I don't think the topper is gonna be much money, but we can bring that back to you if you'd like to see that. I think it'll be well within our
If it's covered,
ability.
just roll. You don't
Okay.
need to do that.
Now, the electronic scoreboard, that's gonna be an addition,
Yep,
so
I
I
get
can
it.
definitely start that process and bring that back to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Chelsea.
I would make the recommendation that it's not necessarily has to come back to us due to the timeliness.
If that is something the council wants us to pursue, then we can work on including that in this project. Of course, you might imagine scoreboards, depending on what you get and all that kind of stuff, can range all sorts of prices, but we can work on that.
Yeah, we're not looking for something like they'd put at Allen High School, for their, but.
Hey, I appreciate you bracketing it for me just a little bit.
You know what I mean? Steve, it's bigger than a bread box.
Councilman Obi?
Yeah, a couple quick. Those banners, are they gonna be two-sided, or are they just gonna be facing away from the infield, or?
I believe they're gonna be just one-sided. I think that's a detail we're still working through.
Okay, and then also, does the ball field have a name?
It does
The
not.
naming rights to that scoreboard would be.
That
That's
is one of the items,
Yeah.
right?
It's
For further donation?
Yeah, we can add that to our further donation list. I don't think that the field itself was listed in that sponsorship packet, but that's an area we can certainly look to include.
Very good. I'm ready to make a
And
motion.
I didn't even ask about the sign, so I don't even.
You want
I
a
didn't
splash
even know.
pad, bull builders,
I had no idea.
field, or what?
I had no idea.
Gonna take a lot more than 10K, Mr. Mayor.
I was just trying to get the kids a fence here, guys. Like, holy cow. That's all right. We'll send out an email later today and see if any of you guys would like to have your name up there. All right, very good. If there are no further questions on this item, then the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion, and I will not be voted.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the sponsorships and utilizing available funds from the PAT fund for the construction of the outfield fence.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Councilwoman Horn. Any further discussion items? The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And I have abstained.
And Mayor and Council, I take
Recusing
it from the discussion that the general consensus and direction to staff is to go work out the topper and work out the electronic scoreboard.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Thank you, everyone, for a great conversation. Moving into agenda item 7.d, discussion and action regarding case number PP 1 for the approval of a preliminary plat for the Savannah Acres addition, being 22.363 acre tract of land situated in the Edward Teal Survey, abstract number 207, and zone for SF 43, single-family residential district land uses, and generally situated in the northeast quadrant of the intersection of Lawrence Drive and FM 549, and situated east of Heath Hawk Drive, City of Heath, Rockwell County, Texas. Mr. Gonzalez.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, members of the council. And this is the property that you see here that's right across the street from Heath Hawk High School. It's about 22.3 acres in size. It is zoned SF43. And what the applicant intends to do is to construct 18 single-family lots meeting the SF43 standards for that. This is the plat. It's going to be referred to as Savannah Acres Edition. And some of the things that we take a look at in a preliminary plat is to just make sure that it's meeting, checking all the boxes for your utilities, for water, sewer, for the density and dimensional requirements. You know, make sure they're meeting all these items on this particular thing, on this plat. And so as we walk through these items, there are a couple of items that the P&Z had brought up in their meeting. In the one thing that we wanted to do is just make sure that this was, the applicant wanted to make sure that this was addressed, and that being access to lots 17, so I get my pointer working here. Lots 17 and 18 appear here, and one of the items that was discussed was access to these lots off of the left turn lane that they're coming in with, and to have access here. The applicant has provided a 20-foot access easement to allow for access within the development, and to also to allow access to lot 18. How this was presented before is they have existing accesses off of Lawrence Drive here off that are on TxDOT roadway. So with that being said, the applicant has taken care of that portion of that and creating entry within the subdivision itself. It does meet all the density and dimensional requirements, meaning it meets all the setbacks, lot sizes, things like that. And those are things that we take a look at. However, there's one item that the applicant is requesting. They are requesting to have off-site sanitary sewer facilities. And this was a point of discussion during the Planning and Zoning Commission in that, you know, where is the nearest sewer locations in this? And as a matter of fact, the Planning and Zoning Commission cited out of the subdivision code, chapter 158.09 C2, which indicates that if public sanitary sewers are not accessible, the subdivider may be required to install the complete sanitary sewer system to conform with future plans for connection with the public sanitary sewer, in which case he or she shall install the necessary sewage treatment facilities for use until such time when the connection is made in the city sanitary sewer system. So there was some discussion on this, and during the meeting, there were no measurements on how far a connection would be required in order to be made. The nearest connection is 3,300 feet away, and it's essentially here off of Heath Hawk Drive. And so here's your subdivision here, 3,300 feet, requires a lift station and a force main. Point number 2 is located up here on FM 549, and this is about 3,900 feet away. And then you have another point here, point number 3. It'll cross several properties. This is about 4,300 feet away, and it runs along Buffalo Creek and FM 550. And so when that being said, the thing staff had to take a look at was, you know, where is the nearest sewer? Excuse me, where is the nearest sewer? So we have a couple of subdivisions here that are adjacent to the development. This is Crest Ridge, and this is Las Lomas here. These two that are adjacent to this, were platted and annexed into the city in the 80s and 90s. And so those, when they came into the city, were on septic systems. And the lots that you see here to the south of the development, these are all on septic as well. However, what P&Z pointed out and what they wanted to say was there is future development. There is possibility for future development down here that'll eventually happen. And when that happens, they should be on sewer as well. And so that's where a connection could be made. And so that is the thing that P&Z is forwarding. When they put forward their recommendation, they are putting forward that the recommendation with that section 15809C2 to move forward with this. And with that, there is a, let me go back here to, oops, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. On the property, there is also a pond, see pond number 1. It's an existing pond that when you take a look at the U.S. Fish and National Wildlife Services, there is their determination on this, it's a freshwater pond. And so that actually is going to, it's subdivided by or divided by lots 7 and 8. So when you take a look at the plat, those will become buildable plats once they fill that pond in. Another portion of, another item of discussion with the P&Z was pond number 2. And that is the pond that's to the south where you see number 2. And the applicant intends to fill that in and to provide a drainage pipe to capture the runoff from lot 18 and within lot 14 to be able to run off and still be able to fill the remainder of the portion of the pond that's going to be on the south of this property. So it'll discharge properly to the south. We take a look at tree mitigation. Now, once again, this is just a preliminary plat, so this is a preliminary tree survey that the applicant has provided. You'll see this come back to you in the form of a final treescape plan in order to take action on at the time of final plat. However, just want to let you know there are 1,418 trees on this site. Most of them you can see surround the property. There's a couple of rows that come across the area where it will touch what would be the right-of-way and some drainage areas here. And for the most part, most of these trees will remain. This, once again, is just a preliminary tree survey. It appears that 208 trees will probably be removed, so they're going to preserve about 1,125 trees. Their proposed tree mitigation will satisfy the tree mitigation portion of this by planting trees and also contributing to the tree fund, whatever may come back. Once again, this will come back to you at the time of final plat for final approval. And then also park fees. We have a park, we'll have a parks board meeting sometime in March. And what they'll do, they'll discuss the park fees here for the park, the fee in lieu of land dedication, of course, and park development fees. Total of $63,722.34 that would be due at that time, and to be due at the time of final plat, actually. So with that being said, staff does recommend approval with the condition that the developer should meet the requirements of section 15809C2 of the subdivision regulations, such as the same as P&Z is forwarding to you as well. With that, the motion here for the preliminary plat should be to approve or approve with conditions, or can be denied as well, citing specific conditions for that. However, the decision to allow for the OSSF within the proposed Savannah subdivision remains a discretionary decision for City Council. With that, the applicants are here to answer any questions, and I'm available for any questions you may have as well.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. At this time, council, do you have questions for staff?
I got a bunch.
Councilman Dodson?
When I take a look at that preliminary plat, one of the things that we've talked about when we are reviewing new developments are developments that are unique and distinctive. I don't see anything that is unique and distinctive about this development. I see as many homes that can be fit in a current space of land in accordance with SF 43. I don't see any parks, I don't see any green spaces, I don't see any berms, I don't see any trail connectivities and whatnot. And that just could be because of the scale of what we're taking a look at with this addition. Now, we have had over the last few years several developments that have come before this council, and one of the things that we have been consistently talking about are the unique and distinctive natures of these neighborhoods that come into our city. So was that talked about at planning and zoning? Because in looking at that, I don't see it.
No, sir, that was not discussed at planning and zoning, to my
Okay.
recollection.
Well, and I would keep in mind, Mr. Alexander, if you'd like to speak to this, most of what we've seen, council, is a rezoning. So you're talking about taking something out of ag and then putting it into a new zoning class. In this standpoint, you're talking about a pre-plat for something that is already zoned SF 43.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that necessarily changed the intent of what you're asking.
Right.
But those are materially different
Right.
circumstances.
So I understand that, Mr. Mayor, but you and I and Ryan have been a part of a lot of conversations with regards to the type, the unique, the distinctive nature, the quality of the building, the type of builders that are allowed to build into this city, et cetera. And I think that we need to maintain some consistency there. So that's my point number one.
Well,
Yeah, if I
Mr.
could-
Alexander.
if I could kind of just add on to one of the comments the mayor was making. So the subdivision, so when these things come through to city staff, of course, we understand what council is looking for, and we understand you're looking for that uniqueness in neighborhoods, getting to the comprehensive plan, all those components in it. That being said, property owners in our community, as long as they follow our rules and regulations, have a right to bring things forward and plat their property under state
Right.
law and within our codes. And so in this case, you have an area that's zoned SF 43. You have a property owner that's following our subdivision regulations and platting their property. And that's where we get faced with a little bit of a challenge, as it relates to trying to get to the vision, without saying to the property owner, hey, we have a whole new set of rules you're going to have to follow, when in fact, all they have to do is follow the existing rules on the books.
But I do think, Steve, that the time to have those conversations are very early, like where we're at now, and not once the plat gets approved and you have zero control whatsoever.
Right.
Because we've also been faced with that.
I agree. I guess what I'm concerned about, and I'll yield to the city attorney, is that we may not have a whole lot of flexibility here in regards to the uniqueness aspects that you're speaking to. In other words, if they're following our rules with regards to parkland dedication, and they're following our rules about tree mitigation, and they're following our subdivision regulations, it becomes difficult to say we don't agree with that, because they are our rules they're following.
Yeah, and to that point, Councilman Dudson, is that when you're talking about rezoning something out of ag into a residential development, that is where that robust dialogue's coming from.
Sure.
Under these circumstances, although I hate this term, you're in a ministerial circumstance. Not saying, again, it negates the fact of the questions that you're asking.
Right.
But those are the limited abilities that we have when we're dealing with pre-plats.
So maybe we just should go right to vote. If none of it really
No.
matters and it's
No.
ministerial, then,
No.
let's just,
I think
let's
it's-
just go to vote.
Okay, are there any other questions or discussion items?
I am, but if they're ministerial, then it really doesn't matter what they are, right? Because I've got questions with regards to
think
the
there's-
traffic study and the impact of traffic in this area. I see I see that there is a traffic study being discussed with TxDOT. How long will that take for us to take a look at and the impact that it's gonna have on the area?
Right, yes, and so the applicant did provide a traffic study, and it was
Right.
in your report, and when you take a look at the traffic counts for the 18 lots, the AM and PM, it was 16 during the AM and 17 during the PM, and that equated to about 136 trips per week for this. And when that memo was sent to TxDOT, they take a look at that to see what type of impact that would have. And I think in this case, they were taking a look at bus links to make sure that channelization in there for the left turn was going to be able to accommodate, I think it was 3 bus links, and correct me if I'm wrong over here, to make sure that that was not going to have an interruption in southbound traffic. And so based on that, on those situations, TxDOT is okay with what is being submitted.
Gotcha.
And so they're just looking for a affirmative response from the Rockwall Independent School District as well as the city. For
Okay,
support.
question with regards to the sewer. We're looking to do on-site sewer for these particular plats. What happens if that fails? What's the fallback if we get a failure at that level? And what does that mitigation look like?
For the failure, if there is on-site sewer.
Yeah, if we get on-site sewer failure in these areas because they're on-site and they're not a part of the city system, and I know that we're talking about potentially, I'm going to use the wrong terminology, maybe stubbing out for future connections should the McDonald property or other properties get developed. What's the maintenance and fallback plan if you get on-site septic issues?
I probably need to refer that question to Richard. He's the city engineer. Probably can answer that question a whole lot better than I can.
Probably not tonight. Anyway, that's one of my,
Okay,
yeah.
go first and I can
Yeah.
add on.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is they are proposing to use the most modern system there is, which is the injection system that's going to be required. And that's, of course, permitted by the county and to state regulations. And I would just remind you, in Heath right now, there's over 700 houses on septic systems.
Right.
So and to your point, the older systems are an issue.
So along with the older issue, what happens when those systems fail?
The older ones?
Yep.
That comes under code enforcement.
That's correct. And so I have not y'all's prosecutor, but when I've handled this for other cities, Richard's correct. It does come under code enforcement, and also we can get TCAQ involved because their enforcement can be a lot more heavy-handed than the city. So when I've dealt with that for other cities, we work with TCEQ to get those systems fixed. And it's typically with these violations, the daily fine is pretty significant.
Right.
Without looking at your code, because it's health and safety, usually it's a lot higher. It can be up to 2,000.
Gotcha.
If your code's the same as I've seen in other cities.
Right.
On penalties.
Richard, while you're up there, it says in the documentation that there's an 18-inch water line that feeds this area, and there's an 8-inch water line that's being proposed for this neighborhood. Is that adequate from your perspective?
Yes.
Gotcha. So that's code. It doesn't step down to 12, or it can step down to 8.
The 8-inch will give you fire flow.
Okay, all right. And the last question I have is with regards to fire access around some of those turnabouts. Has our fire marshal weighed in on the ability of our equipment to move its way through this neighborhood?
What's the diameter of cul-de-sacs? They're 120 feet, right, of the diameter?
I'm not sure what that is, but I'm just wondering parenthetically what that looks like.
It's the width of the circle.
Right.
It should be 120 feet on the right of way, I believe. It is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that meets code. That meets fire code.
Okay. I have no further questions, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Councilman Dodson. Are there other questions?
I have a quick question.
Councilwoman
Just
Thurgood?
with regard to the trips, typically isn't it like 5 trips per household per day? And I mentioned that, or I heard that you mentioned that it's 2. It just seems like I am concerned about the traffic flow in that area, especially given the proximity to the school and the number of immature drivers, and just want to make sure that the sufficient improvements in and out of that subdivision are adequate.
Right, yes, and once again, the traffic study is done by a traffic engineer who
Right.
understands those patterns and what's happening with that. And Matt Atkins, that wants to step up, he can probably
we'll-
answer that question better, whatever.
We'll
Yes,
have the
but
applicant come
that
up
is-
next.
Yeah, those are reviewed by traffic engineers.
All right.
Yes?
Council, any other questions for staff?
Yes, sir.
Councilman
Just for-
Omby?
Just for clarity, the left turn lane will come into the existing median, is that the idea? And it'll be long enough?
I believe, yes, sir. I believe that's how that's going to be. It's still in design phase, I think, I believe, I understand that, but I believe that's how that's supposed to occur, yeah.
And any turn lanes on the northbound or the right turn lane?
Not that I'm aware of.
No need for any of that? Okay. And I guess I'm a little stuck on the septic versus on-site, so it's not gonna be an accumulative site for sewer, it's gonna have individual septics at each of the properties.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so where did P and Z land on connectivity to the city sewer? If that's in a negotiating point, I mean, what do you consider accessible? You know, what are the distances?
Right, and that's where the discussion was, and that's how we landed on showing you the distances
Yeah, well,
where
the shortest
that is,
distance out of
and
the
then-
three was 3,300 feet.
3,300
and
feet.
requiring a lift station, as I recall.
Correct, yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So do we have a projected cost for that lift station? I'm sorry, Mr. Omby, go ahead.
No,
Sure.
that's a perfect tie-in, I mean, just, what is it a distance that would be acceptable, and is 3,300 more or less than that?
At this time, we do not have an answer for what's acceptable. It's just
Just not
stated as
delineated
accessible.
in.
Yeah, that's a
States
challenge we have with our ordinance right now, is that we don't have a definition of accessibility. It just says,
Would this be an engineering
Accessible.
question? Or would it, who would define that?
Well,
Great.
Kinda
accessible is a terrible term, because anything is accessible if
Right.
you have enough money. So that's just a terrible way to, it needs to have a distance.
I think it'd be
related to
helpful,
it.
Richard, if you would put it in context of how we have handled this in the past as far as accessibility.
Well, generally, okay, case in point, the 10 on 549 is being built down by the church, up by the church right now. Okay, they were within, like 400 feet of sewer, a little closer. They've connected to the sewer, okay?
Right.
That seems to be a reasonable distance. Things like Terabella was thousands of feet in '05 when it was permitted. And they built the utility line, the sewer lines in the subdivision and set out the services and then capped it. And then they all have individual septic systems until the time that the city has sewer brought up available to connect. That's really, to my knowledge, in '05, that's the last one of these that happened like this. But everything else, unless it was like a 1, 2, or 3 lot subdivision, just a little bitty small one, that was, still thousands of feet from the sewer. You've got if you remember the Estes property on Smurl, they were pretty close, but they had to get across private property to be able to connect. And so without the city being willing to condemn that property, they couldn't get to it, even though it was there, like 200 feet away.
Right.
So there's different challenges, for different places, but what I got out of the P and Z was, and when you hear what was it 3C, the one that you're quoting, it says you got to provide the service and you got to put in the utilities and also connect, or also provide treatment. Well, to me, that says you got to have on-site septic at each lot, and you got to put the utilities in the ground and cap it and be ready for when the city gets there someday in the future.
Richard, could that be in the form of a package plant rather than a individual septic tank on each piece of property?
Well, it could, but if you do that, then who's going to operate that package plant?
Or the HOA could, right?
Probably is gonna be the city.
Right, okay, the city's also, all right. This is a challenge, if you look at, another challenge we have with our ordinance is it's not clear whether the on-site system would be a septic tank at each lot or some type of centralized facility that's tied into the sanitary sewer system that's built to making that sanitary sewer system functional.
Right.
And that's one of the issues that we have in our community right now is that there have been subdivisions that have been built that have been allowed to have septic tanks on each lot, but at the same time, the developer has built a sanitary sewer system and capped it off, waiting for the city to come along and connect it in to the sanitary sewer system for that subdivision, if you understand what I mean. My understanding is that has not happened in practicality. As you might imagine, if people have septic systems that are working on their property, why would they want to hook onto city sanitary sewer and start paying $100 and something bill per month to the city? So that is a challenge. The way the city has dealt with this in the past is they've allowed a sanitary sewer system to be built for the subdivision, cap it off, and allow a septic tank for each lot. Mm-hmm. That's the way that's been handled in the past, even though the ordinance seems to read like it's supposed to be a functioning sanitary sewer system that's built. And the only way you can make that happen is by having some kind of centralized septic system.
Right. Okay.
AKA a package plan.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Close.
Okay.
So, I got a question.
Hold on, Mr. Myers.
When you say
septic. Hold on, John.
Certainly very sensitive to the cost of developing as well. What is maybe an approximate delta from a 3,300 foot connection to 18 or whatever individual septic systems? Is it a great deal of money or what?
Don't know what, honestly, I don't know what the on-site septic systems cost.
Right.
As,
Maybe that's a question
as
for
part of
the
the development, I don't know if the developer's doing that or if the home builder is doing that for the homeowner.
Typically home builder.
As opposed to putting in a lift station and a force main up front as part of the development.
I guess we'll know in a minute. Make more sense for the builder to have to do it from a developer standpoint.
But
okay. And last question for me, at least for now, is should this have some trail connectivity to any of our existing trails? David, maybe?
Yeah, it's not on the trail map, but the trail map does not show a 10-foot trail along that side. It's on the opposite side, on the west side where Heath Hawk Drive is.
And I noticed in the map that there's some 5-foot trails existing. Those
the 5-foot sidewalk,
really
yes,
more
sir.
sidewalks.
Right, yes, a sidewalk that once they start construction, if that is torn out, they'll have to replace.
So there is or is not trail connectivity?
There is no trail connectivity, correct.
Okay.
But it's not on our trail map.
Yeah,
It's not on the trail map, correct.
Well, there's no trail connectivity because there's none required. So there is a sidewalk, and they will be required by your ordinances to put a sidewalk through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there is a sidewalk. They'll have to replace, whenever they tear it up, they'll have to replace the sidewalk as it currently exists.
Correct, yes, sir.
And you wouldn't necessarily want them to do it 10-foot in their one small section of however many 200 feet, because it's gonna be 10-foot and then it's gonna go back to 5-foot.
Well, my thought was more connectivity to the other trails so that they could get.
They don't have a back,
to other
yeah.
subdivisions.
I did look at that, there's no back entrance, unless you're going through someone else's property. Mr.
David,
Myers?
I got one question. You said septic. You are talking about aerobic systems, aren't you? Or is this?
yeah, and the injection.
Or injection, right.
Yes, yeah, injection, yes.
Okay, all right. And what we're gonna do now is we'll bring the applicant up, and then we can also bring staff back in. But I do wanna make it very clear, whenever I do make I'm very intentional in making sure that everyone understands, what's ministerial, but we also, it's not moot, right? We are making a decision, and you do have the ability to look at this and go, hey, there is cause for pause for things that are very much applicable. One would be drainage. There's a shared pond on this plat. There is, what we've just experienced is, hey, do we have inadequate infrastructure? And what are the concerns there? So it's very much, it is our purview to be able to address those items for this pre-plat Mr. Alexander?
Mr. Mayor, over here speaking with the city attorney, when time is appropriate, if the council so desires, it might be useful to spend some time in executive session on this item prior to taking action.
That's right. I was going to make that possibility as well. But in general, I think this is a good, robust dialogue that I do think is, as you guys know, over the last 2 years, man, if I don't have to go into executive session and let's do it out in the open, I think that that's a very healthy thing, as much as we can. Council always cringes when I say that for the last 2 years. Okay? All right. So at this time, thank you, gentlemen. If we can have the applicant come up, and then we'll continue this dialogue, because there was a pre-existing question that I believe Councilman Omby or Councilman Dodson. Okay. Councilwoman Thurgood, if you'd like to ask that question again for clarity.
Well, my concern and question are just the infrastructure, the current roads and turning lanes that are being proposed. I am concerned they just might not keep the area as safe as desired, especially given it's so well trafficked by young drivers. And would right turning lanes and additional turning lanes be considered? And also, there was a point being discussed that the traffic study that was done took into account only 2 trips per household, and I thought on average studies would consider 5 trips being the norm per household. Can you speak to that?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, Council, Matt Atkins with TNP, 825 Waters Creek Boulevard, here on behalf of the applicant. So, yes, Councilwoman, I'll try to answer that question. So, in the infrastructure on 740 is maintained and controlled by TxDOT, and so as such, we have to go through their process in order to get this connection made. And with that, we went through a left turn and turning movement study memo where we did the traffic counts on that. And yes, generally you would have more than 2 trips per day, but what was lost in that is that morning and afternoon trips that are generated per household, and that's normally run over an hour-long time period. So you have the peak hour AM, peak hour PM, and so that's what you measure those turn lanes by. And in this case, we're providing a sufficient turn lane into the subdivision to allow for the stacking of those and to get across that, as well as still maintain enough space for the buses to turn. And we've had those discussions with Rockwall SD as well to get approval from there. And the way they use the traffic patterns around the school, they don't have a problem with shortening their turn length just about 100 feet. They've got a very excessive turn length there. So we're able to get the left turn lane in there. One thing to note too is that there are currently 6 driveways in this section. Those would go away and it would just be one road now. So you're concentrating everything into a protected left where there is not a protected left, there's a median opening. So there's no island to protected to turn into some of those driveways. So all of those provide for a safer condition, and then you're talking about 18 lots, residential lots that just don't generate a ton of traffic other than just the turn lanes, in and out.
It's a fast-moving road. I would personally prefer a right turning lane as well. It's not required by TxDOT is the contention, I guess.
So it's not required by TxDOT, and there's a reason. If you put a bunch of right turn lanes along a road like this for every one of these, if you look up and down 740, there's hardly any right turn lanes for some. You have to meet a certain turning movement in order to be allowed a right turn lane by TxDOT, and this neighborhood just does not generate enough traffic to meet that turning movement, and that's for various safety reasons as well, but that's a TxDOT requirement.
Okay. All right.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Thurgood. Councilman Omby, Councilman Scott Dodson, you had a question. There was another question I thought that you guys were asking.
Maybe the delta on construction.
Oh, there you go.
Getting the sewer
Okay.
line to our closest connection.
Yeah.
Did you estimate that when you started looking at the development?
So it is, yeah, I believe you asked the question whether, how does that compare to on-site septic, on-site sewer? It is significantly more. We've not run every scenario out, but it is significantly more. One thing to point out too is that that connection would require a lift station, which would be maintained by the city. And currently the city has 12 lift stations in which you maintain those across the city. And lift stations historically require quite a bit of maintenance when power goes out. There's a smell issue with them in neighborhoods and things like that. So they are not a desirable solution in most cases, but it is significantly more cost on the order of 3 to 4 times the magnitude of that. That's just construction costs. Then you have all of these options would require going across private property and obtaining easements and those sorts of things. So that is a challenge as well. It's with regards to the septic, these are going to be, well, first, this neighborhood is planned to be very architecturally controlled. We're looking at houses starting in $2.5 million range and up. And we're talking about 18 homes, kind of an enclave type. We are, the name on the plat is just a placeholder at this point in time. We're working on a more suitable marketing name, so we're working through that, as well as what the landscaping and entries and all that stuff is going to look like. So we will be bringing that back to you during the final platting stage so that you can see what this looks like. We do intend this to be a very high-end subdivision with architecturally designed custom homes, all, like I said, starting in $2.5 million and up. With those, we would propose to do on-site septic. Currently, there's 4 septic systems on this property already. Those are the older septic systems. We would be looking at replacing those and adding just 14. It is in a neighborhood and adjacency where those septic systems are in place and the adjacent neighbors have those. So it's not like you're taking that and putting it in an area that is fully septic or fully sewer system. They are going to be the latest technology in drip irrigation and dispersal. All of that is below ground. There's no aerobic sprays, so there's no smell or anything like that. Also important to note, those are highly regulated by TCQ and the city of, and the county, Rockwall County, and they have to be maintained with a maintenance contract every 3 months. People come out, you have to have that contract to have those serviced, and so those are serviced, very regularly. And with these type of homes, they want them to be functioning quite well. So that, I think, kind of hopefully sheds a little more light onto what the plan is there regarding how we're going to handle this sewer situation. And we would like to request of the council that the on-site septic be allowed because of the accessibility option not really being feasible for getting septic or sewer to this property. And with the timing of that future, I mean, city engineer spoke about another one that was done 20 years ago that has not been connected to. In this situation, we believe it's feasible, reasonable to not put in the septic or the sewer lines for future connection. That is our request. We'll obviously have that discussion with you all if you would like, and try to get to a reasonable solution there. But that is our request tonight, that we do that, in that it's just 14 more septic, and with the size of homes that we're looking at, coming back in and making that connection in the future is very disruptive, and can cause a problem. And if you're looking at 20 years down the line, what shape are those facilities in that you're connecting to, and what does that look like? So That is our request. Obviously, we're here to discuss that tonight, and we're very reasonable and open to trying to answer all your questions.
Very good, thank you, sir. The one question that I have is, seems like as you guys were designing, you had a tough time with lot one.
Lot one.
It's the one lot that's not, it's part of the preliminary plat, but it's on the main road, there's no road, interior road. P&Z also had some concerns with it. What are the thoughts there? I mean, is it basically, hey, look, you know, we've got this whole plot of land, and we've got the ability to put lot one in, we'll just have that as a single home that's going to have ingress, egress onto the main road?
No, so lot one would face the main road potentially, and then it would have access off of Chesapeake Bay, access off of Chesapeake Bay Way. So all the lots, what we propose now is that all the lots would have ingress and egress off of Chesapeake Way and not off of 740.
I'm not seeing that here on this preliminary plat.
I mean, 18.
Well, we gotta work on the size of paper that this is being submitted on. So per our ordinance needs to be larger, but
The southwest lot?
looks, it's the south lot. It's the, I believe it says lot one. I got my bifocals on.
Yeah,
It does.
it saes lot one.
Yeah.
Right there across. Yeah.
That one there?
Yeah.
This is 18 on my map.
That's
No,
lot 18.
Oh, very top.
No, no.
Okay.
Well, mine says one right there.
All right, whichever one. We're all talking about the same
Yeah, it says
same
one.
lot.
Okay, yeah, there
It's
is.
the one you just pointed at.
There is
the
some
one-
discretion.
That one's lot 18.
Yeah, there's some discretion
Lot 18,
differences between.
Hey guys,
the two.
everybody, real quick. Got it. I'm just letting you guys know. Per the document I'm referencing here on option 9, it's lot 1. So it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay? We're talking about the same lot though, so I appreciate the additional clarity. So are you showing an easement to connect a roadway?
So there's an easement, we're proposing an access easement off of, across the back of lot 17 from Chesapeake
Okay.
that would allow access to that lot 18.
Okay.
So they could have a rear garage back there and still access across that lot 17, between lot 16 and 17.
Okay, I see you've got it.
If I could have my Vanna White, Mr. Cameron Sloan over there.
Is this on your, identified on your preliminary utility plan? Is that what that's identifying as? This thing's so small, I can't see.
There's a,
Yeah, there's preliminary plat, that one.
20-foot access. Okay, 20-foot access here.
Got it, okay, okay. Just wasn't showing on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all's in your packet there as far as.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So then there will be no driveway off the main road?
There would not have to be any driveways off off of 740, yes, sir.
And I know that you guys probably made that pivot after P&Z.
It is something, actually, it's something that we had discussed with the developer and design team already before P&Z. And so it was an easy decision to make that pivot after P&Z.
And which so it's gonna be street facing,
It would.
but the only way to get to it is this easement. Okay, and then as far as fire code, is there a hammerhead on this? Or how are we addressing fire code?
So the fire code, because it faces a public roadway in 740, they would be able to access it off of, with fire from 740.
With a gate entry?
Well, it would be front yard, so it would be within the hose lay length required for.
So now we're gonna station an engine on a major roadway?
gosh,
Yeah.
no, no way.
It's what would happen right now out there if with all those homes on that road.
That you would station an engine in the roadway?
I think it'd be situational on that. I've maybe discussed with the fire marshal about it, but if there's no, typically there's a driveway access to that residence off of 740. There are no homes that are on the back, they have a back alleyway on 740.
And we could have a driveway off of 740 as well, where they could get off. But the main in and out for the residents could go out the back.
Okay.
And it, depending on, like I said, these are gonna be custom lots, so it could have a porte-cochere where you can kind of drive through and come through to the front. So
Okay.
there would be access. We're not just saying there would be absolutely no driveway there, but on 740, but you would
Yeah,
not have
I
to
mean,
have it.
I understand the pivot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
P and Z said that that was a concern. You had vice chair that said that that was a concern, right? So,
Yeah, we're open to really either way.
okay. I'm just trying to understand it, frankly, so, okay. What are we doing about drainage? I saw a drainage plan, but, are there no concerns about there's a shared pond with a neighboring property?
Yes.
What are you doing with that?
So our intent right now is to leave as much of the lots undisturbed as possible, so that we preserve the nature, the natural of the lot. So build the roads, get the side yard swells in as necessary.
Yeah, but the only problem is, and we both know, once somebody comes in and you put in roadways and other elements, you're gonna create the opportunity for more drainage than what might naturally be there today. And then
Absolutely.
also looking at a treescape, thought, you're also gonna see some of these absorbents that currently naturally exist going away.
Yes, sir. And so what we plan to do, we do show detention in the back, so we do have an HOA lot with detention on it in the back corner. So we would detain all of our increased runoff back there in the back corner. The shared pond, we still need to direct water there because you have a pond on someone else's property, so you can't cut that off. So we would send the same amount of water that they have going there right now, we would send that there. And then we cut off it's a matter of mathematics, and the grading on those lots there to redirect the flow to the detention pond in the back corner and still leave a little bit of water going to that existing shared pond. And then have a drainage easement around that pond.
Okay, council, do you have questions for the applicant?
Is this lot to lot drainage?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. No further questions?
I should clarify, not without an easement.
Okay, can you explain that?
So for example, on those lots right there, we may have a pipe that needs to drain and outfall into that shared pond.
Right.
And it would need an easement.
Gotcha.
And that would technically carry some water from another lot to that point across that lot line, and it would be an easement. Other than that, there's no lot-to-lot drainage.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So gutters or no gutters?
Gutters, absolutely.
Gutters in the street?
Yes.
Yes.
Curb and gutter street, sidewalks
part of code.
along the street.
My concern is, this one should be right, on lot 14. The existing pond that's shared with the neighbor to the south.
Yes, sir.
And then you're also in your, yeah, thank you. Oof, these eyes are working hard tonight. All right, and so I'm seeing in your treescape plan, you do plan to keep all those trees, right? So as the development goes in, you should be able to control that. My curiosity and concern would be is that as I look at these setbacks and look at a pad site that's gonna have to be put in, you're not gonna have all those trees.
So on an individual lot by lot basis, they would need to come in and if remove trees, then take that out per a building permit on that lot.
Right.
And that would be a custom lot here's the architectural plans, here's what that site pit looks like, and here's what we're doing landscaping wise and all of that on each of those lots.
So the onus
Truly a
goes
custom.
on whoever purchases the lot.
Correct.
Okay.
Which, by the way, we do have a couple local builders who want all these lots.
Okay. All right, very good. Councilwoman Hall?
I hate to bring up the septic system again, but I want to make sure that I understand, and sometimes the mayor doesn't look this direction. So.
That's
It's
because they have the
okay.
left and here. We need the left and right here, and then it makes it easier to look around.
It's all right. I just want to make sure I understand. The builders would be required to install the septic systems.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the homeowners would be required to maintain them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Just wanted to make sure.
that is a requirement, that maintenance is a requirement of the permit, and they have to have a maintenance contract on file with a certified provider, maintainer, that come out and maintain that every 3 months.
Okay. Are these peat moss systems?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay.
They are aerobic systems.
Aerobic.
Which have been around for years, but typically when you say aerobic, it means spray.
Okay.
And so now we are doing them with drip,
Okay.
which is all underground.
Okay. Thank you for
You bet.
clarification.
Maybe you could take a minute to walk us through how you plan to be in compliance with the tree ordinance.
So we are planning to save as many trees as possible, and then do plantings on require plantings on each lot. And then the difference of those would be a payment to the park fund.
Okay.
Payment in lieu of.
For the park.
Well, for the
For the
trees.
tree fund.
Tree fund, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. So in your CCR, you're not going to address the 1-for-1 matching caliper inch or a 3-to-1 with smaller caliper inch. You're saying that you're gonna create some requirement of some sort, and then whatever the remaining amount is, then you're gonna do a fee in lieu of.
Yes, sir.
And have you done any substantiation on what that number looks like? If there's a recommendation for an in lieu of?
Yes, I believe we have a number,
I think
right?
it was about 64,000
Yeah.
or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Gonzalez presented that, right?
I did see a slide on that, I'm just questioning.
Yes, so for the trees, we're talking about the tree fund, right? And so for the number of trees they're gonna remove, you're looking at 11,708 inches total, is about 1,400 trees. And what they plan on removing, when you take a look at the right-of-way and easement, which would be the blue area and the yellow area, which would essentially look at those as city-owned property at that point, because they're gonna dedicate that over to us. And so those now become part of the equation. The mitigation would be 208 inches at this stage. That would come out to, you take the difference of the balance of that, you're gonna plant a certain number of trees on each lot, and then the balance of that would be due at the time to satisfy that mitigation of on a per inch basis. And that'll come to you at final plat. This may change a little bit once they go through their civil plans and come in for the final plat. And so, but that's essentially what you're looking at, about 208 trees that'll be mitigated for.
Yeah, but, we don't have to approve anything in lieu of.
That's correct. It is certainly a council,
Right.
Council discretion. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Council, any other questions that you may have for the applicant?
I got one question. When I'm looking at it, you're talking about the trees, lot 12 here, you got a build line there. All of them trees are gonna be going away. You see where your build line is, and then all these trees are between your build line and and I'm gonna say, well, mine's turned, so if that's the scale, I'm gonna say it's gonna be on the south side. Am I correct? Or
And once again, I think like, as Mr. Atkin pointed out, when
whatever
those.
he takes out, he's gonna put back, is what you're saying.
Yes. That'll come before you on an individual basis as somebody purchases the lot, comes in to build, then they'll need to submit a treescape plan. If it's more than 2 trees, city staff can approve 2 trees for a building permit. Anything beyond that would need to come before council for tree mitigation.
Okay, very good. Council, any further questions for the applicant?
I guess just for further clarity, so we're talking about a development, and so now whoever builds on it will do tree mitigation at that point in time again, and they'll be responsible for the sewer systems as well, the septic.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, the properties themselves, has this been purchased already, or are these independent property owners that are working with a developer to do this property?
So,
Because I don't see any residents here, so.
no, they have been purchased or under contract, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, very good. Very well. Are there any other questions for the applicant at this time? Okay. What I'm going to recommend is that we do go into executive session. We're going to allow some conversations with our legal counsel on this item. So at this time, look for it. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, the City Council will recess into executive session. This is a closed meeting to discuss the following. This is Section 551.071, consultation with the attorney on the matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter regarding case number PP 261 to review the preliminary plat of Savannah Acres Addition.